I mean, I don't know exactly like what you're going to be comfortable talking about, but everybody keeps saying that you were the trigger man. Is that accurate?
Next question.
Can't talk about that.
Let's talk about that.
Why did he end up getting shot anyway? Like, why? Especially
I don't feel like the drugs was part of the situation. I just feel like, I don't know, we was just kids being kids from the hood. Too much movement. That's all, too much movement.
Pop Smoke's killer is reportedly at the center of a fresh street incident after allegedly getting caught slipping by New York goons. And this isn't just anybody. We're talking about the same person who dodged a life sentence because he was underage at the time. For months, he'd been moving way too reckless, trolling Pop Smoke online, posting disrespectful comments, and even popping up on podcasts speaking on the case like he was untouchable. But according to street sources, that energy didn't last long. Once word started spreading, the streets reacted. And if that wasn't already crazy enough, what allegedly happened next involving the brother of the other shooter pushed this whole thing into another lane, reportedly found on a beach inside a barrel. Yeah, this entire situation sounds unreal, but it's being heavily discussed right now. So let's break it all down. Now look, for anyone who doesn't know the full backstory, let me catch y'all up real quick. February 19th, 2020. That's the day the music world lost Pop Smoke, one of the most promising young artists Brooklyn had produced in years.
Pop Smoke was known by some of the biggest names in the business, like Nicki Minaj and 50 Cent. His murder has stunned fans everywhere.
Yeah, everybody's talking about it. Police say suspects broke into his home and shot him.
Shorty was only 20 years old when he was killed during a home invasion up in the Hollywood Hills. The whole situation was heartbreaking. Bro Pop was really on the verge of becoming the next big thing, and just like that, he was gone. Now, 5 people ended up getting arrested in connection to his murder. Most of them were teenagers, literal kids, who thought they were about to go on a quick lick. But one of them, the one everybody points to as the trigger man, was just 15 years old at the time. Because of that, when he eventually admitted to the killing in juvenile court, he couldn't be hit with a life sentence. Instead, he got sent to a juvenile facility until he turned 25. That was it. No life, no punishment that really matched the weight of what happened. Fast forward to when he gets out, and this is where the story goes left. This dude really thought he could just step back into the world and move however he wanted. Like doing that juvenile time wiped the slate clean. But New York? New York had a completely different mindset, fam. Just know that. And before we get into what allegedly happened to the killer, it's important to remember why Pop Smoke's death hit so hard. This wasn't just another rapper being taken out. Pop Smoke was actively changing the sound of New York hip-hop. He took Brooklyn drill and pushed it straight into the mainstream in a way nobody else had done. Tracks like Welcome to the Party, Dior, and For the Night weren't just songs, they were anthems. The whole city was moving to them. Pop had that voice, that deep, gritty tone you couldn't confuse with anybody else. He had presence, charisma, real star power. The industry already knew what time it was. Travis Scott, Nicki Minaj, Quavo, everybody wanted to work with him. He was only getting started, and then he was gone. His album Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon dropped after his death and debuted at #1, sitting on the charts for weeks. That tells you everything. People weren't just grieving a rapper. They were grieving what could have been, a generational talent taken way too soon. So when his killer gets released and starts moving reckless, starts speaking on the murder like it's nothing, you gotta understand how disrespectful that looks. This isn't just about one person anymore. That's disrespect to a whole city, a whole culture, and millions of fans who still play Pop Smoke's music every single day. So boom, he gets out, and instead of laying low, instead of showing any remorse or fading into the background, this man decides to hop on podcasts and talk. I'm talking full interviews where he's basically replaying the night Pop Smoke lost his life. And the way he spoke on it? Cold. Disrespectful. Let me break down what he said, because this part matters. In one interview, the host asks him about that night, whether it was a setup or just a robbery that went wrong. And listen to how casual he sounds when he explains it. It was a robbery. Nobody sent us there. Nobody did none of that. That's all false information. It's a lot of pages just giving out fake info on YouTube. They don't know nothing. Y'all don't know nothing. Y'all just assuming and putting stuff together as you go.
How would you describe what was going on that night? Maybe even just like take us through the day if you want.
Well, I'm not finna get into detail about too much, but It was a robbery. Nobody sent us, nobody did none of that. That's all false information. It's a lot of pages that's like giving out false information. YouTube's like the vlog, false. Like they don't know nothing. Y'all don't know nothing y'all talking about. Y'all just assuming and y'all just putting shit together as y'all going around.
Bro is really sitting there talking about killing one of New York's most loved artists like he's explaining what he ate for breakfast. No emotion, no remorse, just cold, matter-of-fact energy. He's correcting the narrative like he's a documentary narrator, not the one who took a life. And it doesn't stop there. Fam, it actually gets crazier. The interviewer brings up all the YouTube videos and media coverage surrounding the case, right? And this kid really has the nerve to say the way people talk about the situation, how they say rest in peace and cover the story, is disrespectful. He straight up says something like, I don't know. I just feel like if that was my boy and they're posting him and speaking on it like that, I'd feel like you might opt too. Think about that for a second. That's the mindset we're dealing with.
Then like the way they bring up the situation and they be saying like rest in peace, so they be disrespectful themselves. They be like I don't know. I just feel like if that was my boy and they're posting them and speaking on a situation like that, like I feel like you might opt too.
What's the disrespectful part?
You peep this? He's really calling other people disrespectful for speaking on Pop Smoke's death. Let that sink in. The dude who actually killed him is out here saying everyone else is out of line. The audacity is insane, bro. The lack of self-awareness is honestly wild. Then the interviewer tries to press him a little more, asking how they even got the address in the first place. You know, all that talk about Mike D, Pop's homie, posting the photo outside the house, the gift bag in the background with the address showing. And the kid immediately switches it up. He says, that part one can't speak on because I don't know how the address got found. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie to nobody.
But they'd be putting it together with like saying that there was, you know, a bag with an address that was posted online. There was a photo of him and his friend where you could see the address in the background. Is a lot of that not true? It's just people putting shit together after the fact?
Oh, that part I can't speak about because I don't know how the address got. I don't know that part. So I can't even speak on that. I'm not finna share a lie to nobody.
But then he goes on to admit some really wild stuff. He straight up says, I didn't know him at all. I didn't even know of him. I probably seen one picture of him before, and I thought he was a model. I was like, he got a good modeling career going on. Let that sink in for a second. That's how detached he's talking about it. Like Pop Smoke was just some random face he scrolled past once, not a superstar whose life he ended.
I didn't know of him. I probably seen one picture of him before and like I thought he was a model. I was like, oh, you got a good modeling career going on. I mean, I thought he was just on that route, but then all this happened. I'm like,
a model, bro. He really thought Pop Smoke was a model. Didn't even realize he was one of the hottest rappers in the game at that exact moment. That alone is crazy. And then he's got the nerve to keep going. He starts saying stuff like, all of this happened. I'm like, I wake up in the morning. I didn't even go to sleep. And I'm just like, damn, I'm lost. Just lost. Lost. You just took somebody's life, and that's the remorse you're showing? That's the accountability? I wake up. I didn't go to sleep. And I'm just lost. But it gets even wilder when you really listen to everything he said in these interviews. The interviewer finally asks him point blank, were you the trigger man? And you know what this kid says? Next question. That's not even a denial, fam. That's basically a quiet confirmation, just wrapped up in legal caution.
Everybody keeps saying that you were the trigger man. Is that accurate?
next question.
He can't straight up admit it on camera. That would be dumb, but he also never denies it. He just skips right past it like it's some awkward topic at Thanksgiving dinner. Then he starts getting into the night itself, giving more details. He says, nobody was intended to get hurt. Nobody was intended to get hurt that night. But almost immediately, he contradicts himself. He starts talking about how there was too much movement going on. So the interviewer asks him to explain what he means by that. And he says, movement from Pop Smoke, movement from everybody in the house. Too much going on. It wasn't intentional. We wasn't on that. Too much movement. Movement from everybody. Too much SHD going on. Asterisk. So which one is it, bro? Was it an accident, or was there so much movement that it forced your hand? Because those are two completely different stories. And the fact that he can't keep it straight while casually talking about taking someone's life, that's what really set people off. Then he makes it even worse by admitting he was high that night. He says, I was off a perk, so I wasn't really fully aware of anything. Think about that. You decided to go on a robbery mission while high off pills, not fully aware of what you were doing. Someone ends up dead. And you think that makes it sound better? Like that excuse is anything? And when the interviewer asks if him and his crew had gone on missions like that before, he hits them with the same answer again. Next question. Once again, not a denial, just another dodge.
But the implication is obvious. This wasn't their first time trying to rob somebody. They were really on that type of timing, thinking they could keep hitting licks and nothing would ever go left. Now, when he gets asked whether they knew anyone in the house that night or if somebody backdoored Pop, this is where he suddenly gets real firm. He says, "Nobody backdoored nobody. I know that 100% for sure. Nobody backdoored nobody. That female, I can't really speak too much on it, but she don't know what she talking about at all. Nobody backdoored nobody. Let's clear that up. Nobody." So yeah, he's clearing up the backdoor rumors, but listen to how he's doing it. It's disrespectful as hell. He's talking like he's doing the public a favor by setting the record straight, not like he's the reason a man lost his life. But here's where it really crossed the line, and this is what pushed people over the edge. After all these interviews, this dude starts moving on social media like he's a celebrity, posting on IG, dropping subliminals, moving like he's proud, like being Pop Smoke's killer is some kind of badge of honor. And trust me, the streets were watching all of this, taking notes, every post, every interview, every time he opened his mouth. It was all getting cataloged. Because when you're from New York and you take out one of New York's own, you're supposed to move careful. You're supposed to move like there's enemies on every corner, because there probably are. Pop Smoke wasn't just some random rapper. He was Brooklyn to the core. The whole city was behind him. His music was anthems in every hood, from Brownsville to Bed-Stuy. Dior had everybody doing the woo walk. Welcome to the Party was the soundtrack to every function, every turn-up, every moment you wanted that energy. And this kid really thought he could casually talk about killing Pop like it was nothing? He really believed he could sit on podcasts, break down the details, and say stuff like we was just kids being kids from the hood and nothing was gonna come from that? Like that excuses murder? Nah, bro, kids being kids is sneaking out, getting caught smoking weed behind the school. That's kids being kids. It's not committing a home invasion and taking someone's life. But he kept trying to frame it like that, like they were just young and dumb and didn't know any better. Now here's where the story takes a turn that had the whole city talking. Word started spreading through New York that Pop Smoke's killer was moving reckless. People were seeing these interviews. They were seeing him all over social media, hearing about him out in public, acting like he didn't have a care in the world. And let me tell you something about New York, especially Brooklyn. They don't forget. They never forget. So according to multiple street sources and people plugged in, this kid got caught lacking. And when I say lacking, I mean lacking. He was somewhere he had no business being, probably thinking he was safe because he did his little time, even though it wasn't nearly enough, and the goons pulled up on him. Now, I can't confirm every single details. Street stuff always has different versions depending on who you ask, but what's consistent across multiple sources, he got beat down bad. We're talking a proper violation, the kind of beating that makes you rethink every choice you ever made. The kind that reminds you interviews and trolling on social media have consequences. From what people are saying, it wasn't a quick scuffle either. This was personal, methodical. New York sending a clear message: you cannot disrespect their legends and expect to walk around freely. They waited for the right moment, caught him vulnerable, and made sure he understood the gravity of what he did. And you know what? A lot of people felt like it was deserved. Not saying violence is the answer, it's not, but because of the sheer disrespect this dude showed. You can't murder somebody, get a light juvenile sentence, then turn around and brag about it in interviews. You can't move like that and expect zero consequences. The streets operate on a whole different code than the legal system. The courts gave him juvenile treatment because of his age, sure, but the streets don't care about that. The streets care about respect, about honor, about not disrespecting the dead, and he violated all of it.
But here's where the story gets even darker, and this is where you see how deep it goes. Remember I said 5 people got arrested in connection to Pop's murder? One of them was a dude named Jaquan Murphy. He didn't even get charged in Pop's case, but he's currently locked up for an unrelated murder. Real stand-up guy, right? Well, Jaquan has a brother named Javont Murphy, and this is where things get absolutely horrific. On July 31st, Javont's body was found inside a 55-gallon barrel floating near the Pacific Coast Highway Bridge in Malibu. Yeah, a barrel in the ocean. The story is insane, fam. A maintenance worker first spotted the barrel just floating there. He tried to drag it to shore, but it was too heavy, so he left it, thinking it was probably just trash. The next morning, a lifeguard came on duty, swam out, and finally retrieved it. When authorities opened it, they found Javont naked, stuffed inside, like he was nothing. The coroner ruled it a homicide immediately. Now get this, Javont was an aspiring rapper himself. Dude loved music, had dreams of making it big, probably grew up listening to hip-hop, dreaming about escaping his situation, and ended up dead in a barrel in the ocean. That's the tragic reality of how these streets operate. But here's the wildest part. TMZ and the LA County Sheriff's Department say they're investigating whether Javont's murder was revenge